Hey guys, it's Kim from Honey Trail Farm. I'm coming out this morning to kind of assess the damage. I'm sure all of you are aware of Hurricane Helene, and obviously in Indiana we don't get hurricanes, but we did get a storm that came off of the hurricane, so we got a lot of wind and rain, and I'm just kind of coming outside to assess the damage. I did look around a little bit when I was milking this morning, like squinting, like, please, are my tunnels still there? Okay. But I haven't walked around to really assess if anything got damaged. Obviously, we're lucky that all we got was some strong wind and rain, because there are places, especially North Carolina and Tennessee, that are awful right now. Pray for those that have no food, no water, no way in or out, no electricity, no anything. Obviously, right off the bat, my beautiful Jerusalem artichoke has seen better days. I doubt she's gonna stand back up this season because I can see the roots are lifted at the bottom, but obviously she only had a few more weeks of glory anyway, because the frost would have came and killed it. But I didn't want to see her go this early, but that's okay. My front yard chicken tractor, I have several of these located throughout my property. This one, everybody's okay in there. It's very low to the ground, so they probably didn't even feel anything. My green stalk fell over. Luckily, the porch caught it. I have a feeling that if it would have fell all the way to the ground, I would have seen some more damage. Now, I can't really see if it's cracked on the other side. My husband will have to help me flip that over. I've already checked, but all my animals are safe and sound. The cows are out here. They were able to go into the structure down there to get out of the wind and rain, but all four in this lot are accounted for, and the two dairy girls I already milked this morning, so I know that they're a-okay. And tunnel number 1, let's check. From the outside, it looks fine. I mean, besides the fact that it's a jungle right now. But actually, everything... Oh, you can see how windy it got inside of this tunnel, because those are leaves stuck to the inside roof. That's crazy. My bunnies are okay in here. Everything looks okay. All right. My fig tree that I potted up, and it's got little baby figs on it. I'm so glad she didn't get broken in half, because I'm gonna bring this bad boy inside this winter and have a fig as a houseplant. I am gonna have a real chore finding all my chickens. The chicken net was blown over, thank goodness, because we were having some straight line winds. Thank goodness this didn't tip over. I was really worried about it. But it looks fine. It was just the fact that the net was down and chickens ran out. And you know, it's my favorite chickens are the ones that go rogue, and then I can't find them. All my pretty colored egg layers, those are always the ones that disappear. But nobody's, deceased. They're just not where they're supposed to be. Like that guy. And then there's some at the barn. I'm gonna have to wrangle those back in. Well, I'm afraid that my backdrop for my family pictures is no more. All my sunflowers got laid over, snapped off, broken in half. There's nothing I can do about it, but I was really hoping to have sunflowers in the background of my family pictures. But I guess that's not that deep. Somehow the amaranth is still standing up. Kind of. Now the real scary part. But everything looks okay. I mean, honestly, Nothing in here really looks any different. It was already like half dead anyway. But it looks like I need to come in and pick, because midway through the season it got so stinking hot in here. Note to self, I'm gonna have to buy shade cloths for next year, because it got too hot in here and my tomatoes really suffered, and you can see at which point they started to die. But then they started to put on new growth, but then the the hornworms came in and ate them. But there's still plenty of fruit, and I need to come in here before they all die. Thank heavens. I was so worried about my tunnels. I was like, should I put the sides down? Should I leave them up? I don't know what to do. For reference, I ended up leaving them up just because the way that the wind was coming. I have nice high sidewalls. If I had lower sidewalls, I probably would have lowered them. But the way the wind was coming, it can cut straight through. I felt like if I would have shut the sidewall, it would have been worse. So I think I made the right decision, because everything in here still looks normal. Exactly the way it was before. Even my plants, I was worried about my broccolis getting knocked over. But they're fine. And then what my daughter and I planted the other day is fine. Actually, it looks even better than when we planted it. It's already growing. Oh, I can breathe a sigh of relief. And all of you that have high tunnels know, every time you get a good storm or a bad storm, you're worried about those tunnels. What are you doing, Hanky? Where did you find that? Whose bone is that? I don't know. There's one last place to check. The duck hut. That's the top. So it blew the roof off. But other than that, everybody's okay and accounted for. I know, I didn't come with any feed. I'm sorry. I also almost fully expected this structure to be gone, the gazebo, because it's just a roof and it would be like a kite and fly away. But it's still hanging on. She's still here. So I'm happy to report that we don't really have any major damage, nothing that can't be fixed, and thankfully all of our tunnels are fine, all of our animals are fine. I really feel for the farms and farmers that aren't fine right now, that is in floodwater or without power, or their road washed away. I can't even imagine the worry they have for not only them, but for their animals. I think what helped my farm is that we're kind of protected. We're kind of in the valley. My neighbors that are just on the hilltop over here, they were without power and we didn't lose ours. And my garden area and where my tunnels are in a nice little cove, pretty protected from the elements. So while it's farther from my house than I would like, because my house I want to be able to just walk out the door and here's all my stuff. It's not like that, but I'm glad that I chose a protected area to put it in. Now it's not too windy, and I'm gonna walk into my woods to assess the damage, because I have a feeling some trees are down. What I'm really hoping is that my little cabin doesn't have any damage, because I'm hoping to turn her into my, I don't know, anything. So lots of branches down, no real trees down yet. Oh, that was beautiful. I walked into the pond area, and I'm happy to say that the pond is filling back up with water. You can see it behind me. It was a literal puddle there the last month because we hadn't had any moisture. I've never seen our pond that low before in the woods. But there was just a big heron there taking a little drink. The cabin looks fine. There's no trees down on it, which is good. And then the shooting range also looks fine. This wasn't here before. Our neighbors run cows in their side of the woods, and their side of the woods is right here. You can see it just took the whole root ball out and pushed it over, but it's on the fence, so I'm gonna have to make a mental note to call the neighbor. Actually, have my husband call the neighbor and tell him not to let the cows through till we can get the fence fixed. I found the holy grail of snail shells. Look at all these. This one's striped. Isn't that fun? I have a small collection of snail shells going. I don't know why, but I thought that they would make the cutest little earrings. Isn't that cute? Whether they'll ever do it or not, you're coming home with me. Oh, it's broken and is inhabited by a tiny spider. Ah! No, this was the tree that had all of my pheasant back mushrooms on it. It's now laying in the trailway. I guess the moral of the story today is, while we didn't have much damage, we very well could have. This could have been a tornado. It could have threw tornadoes off, and there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people who do have significant damage. I mean, damage that's going to take years and years to fix it all. And for me, in a time of crisis, what always comes to light is like thinking about how prepared or not you are if something like that did happen here. I mean, we are more prepared than the average American because we have things in bulk. We have food, or we have all of our meat in bulk and grains. Obviously, we have plenty of dairy, but what happens when the dairy feed runs out? What happens if we need to get water to those animals? When things like this occur, all the weak spots in your systems really come to light. And I'm sure that there are thousands and thousands of people who live in those cities that were affected that are feeling the pinch point of not being prepared. So whether you live on a farm and you have to get, water and safe things and food to your animals, or you live in a city and you're just worried about you, I encourage all of us to make a list in ways that we could improve. For me, it's water. Water is our main pinch point, because while we aren't on town water, so if that system failed, we still have a well, but how are we going to draw the water up from the well without power? I've always been wanting to get into rainwater catchment systems, and I think maybe this winter I will spend a lot of time working on that. In our off season is time for projects. The main season is time for just surviving. So whatever your pain points are on your farm or in your house, if there was an emergency, what are you lacking? I encourage all of us to figure that out, because The systems that we have in place are getting more and more volatile. They're very unpredictable these days, as is the weather. Like, when's the last time Indiana saw this much from a hurricane that happened in Florida? So strange things are happening every day, and we just need to be more prepared, more equipped to handle them, because they're going to happen whether we're ready or not. So this was a walk around my farm to assess the damage. Hallelujah, there really isn't much that can't be fixed or moved or dealt with. Pray for the ones that do have astronomical damage. I can't even imagine if my farm flooded what we would do. But I'm about to get poured on and my camera can't get wet. So this is where I leave you. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time.